And this is a video review of the Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy Battlecross Time Collection Autobot Mirage. So this video will focus solely on Mirage. I already did a video on Grimlock and I showcased the packaging and the instructions there. So for this video, I thought I'd focus on Mirage, compare him with all of the newer versions of Mirage that we've gotten across the years, aside from the G1, which I don't have, and I'll do a comparison on those. So yeah, let's take a look at Mirage. Okay, now taking a closer look at Mirage. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't have picked up this Mirage if I'd gotten the Siege version. I thought that Siege version looked great, but it wasn't really made available here in Melbourne, or at least I didn't really get it when it was here, if it was here. I was able to get the Netflix version of that and the holographic version of that, but you know, you need a G1 colored Mirage on your shelf, so you know, I picked this up, but I'm not really too miffed about it. Now, to be honest, this one is an awesome deco and sculpt, but it does have one flaw, so I'll address that now. It doesn't have a shoulder peg for the shoulder cannon. So what I've done is I have actually gotten Soundwave's gun, pegged it on the back of the arm, and just position it like that. And for most shots, you won't really see it. Well, now you see it because you know that it's there, but you know, you can position your poses such that it's really hidden. Really, you know, really up to you how you do that. So really nice. But yeah, that's the problem. There's no way to peg that in. Now you can argue because there's a peg there, so you can't really drill a hole there, but I've seen that done before, right? If you have this tiny Soundwave, see how it has a peg hole that goes through that peg. So they could have done that, you know, and it would have been okay. Maybe the only sacrifice is they would have resculpted this to have a thinner peg, but that's fine. I mean, I think the focus there was to avoid having to reuse parts, which is crazy, just because it sacrifices one of the main shining points of Mirage, which is basically a shoulder cannon. Now the other way that they could have done this is they could have used that peg hole there. I mean, I'm sure I could have done that, found a way to do it as such, you know. Problem is that peg hole is really loose, so maybe a third party can come up with an accessory that pegs from there and allows this to peg as such. That would be really easy. Or maybe a 3D printed one. Larkin's Lair, if you're there, here's an idea. So yeah, without that, you can probably peg this there, which is okay, you know. And again, certain poses, you can have this on the shoulder. Certain poses, it would look fine. Not the best, but it would look fine certain poses, right? Or you can just use it as a gun. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at the accessories. So it does come with two sets of accessories. It doesn't come with Soundwave's gun, and these are identical to the one that came with the Siege version. So taking a closer look at the Siege Netflix one, this one is gray, this one is more gunmetal-y, but they're identical. Looking at the Holo Mirage one, again, this is a translucent plastic, this is gunmetal-y, but it's identical. In terms of the gun, again, here is the Netflix version one. Similar, different plastics. This is the one that came with the Netflix one. So yeah. Now taking a closer look at the robot. Aside from the peg, I think this one looked or came out really well. I like the proportion of this, and we'll compare that with the other Mirages later a little bit. I like the proportion of this. I like that this one is not too overly big like the Netflix one. I wish they would have retained the elf logo instead of changing it to orc, which is, if you're a D&D fantasy fan, you'll know the reference there. Number 26, I like that they used the blue plastic as opposed to the clear plastic on the original Siege version. It does retain the same profile, as well as the back. Now, I thought this would be a remold of this, or a heavy retool, but there's not much reuse actually. So if you take a look, the head is identical, the entire body is different, the upper arm is different, the shoulders different, this top part of the arm is the same, this forearm is different, the hand is the same, crotch is the same, body of course is different, it's a totally different mold. The upper legs are the same. Oh no, sorry, the upper legs are different. Yeah, see, there's a recess there. This one is flush. The whole lower body is different. The feet is the same. From the back, you know, this the wheels are you know, the same. Crotch looks like it's the same. The tooling on the wheels is the same, but the tooling on this vehicle part is different. We'll see that later on. So there's a lot of new parts here, which is quite cool. I'll take a closer look at this Netflix one, or sorry, the Holo one. Again, it's exactly identical to the Netflix except for the head sculpt. Now, if you're not familiar with this Holo Mirage one, this one does have the G1 head sculpt, which is cool. So I wish we got that G1 head sculpt on the Siege version, the original Siege version, just to differentiate from this one. So let's do a comparison of this guy with the other Mirages that I have. Now I thought this would be a fun comparison. So these are the Mirages that we got on the chug line. So first off, this is the drag strip version of the Classics Mirage mold. This is the new Combiner Wars version, and this one is the one we got from Siege, and of course this is the one we got from Kingdom. Now, as you can see, this one has evolved quite nicely. I really like this original Mirage mold that's been used on drag strip. This one was really ahead of his time. Lots of good articulation and all that. Even has, you know, toe articulation, so it was really good for the time. It doesn't really look like Mirage, even the original one. It's a little bit more stylized, although I do feel that it fits Mirage just because of how sleek and, you know, how sleek that robot is, which fits for a race car. This one was the Combiner Wars version, which was good when it first came out. Does fit drag strip more than it does Mirage, but it's okay. I don't really mind it. It is hampered by the fact that it is a combiner, but otherwise, if this was the only Mirage that you got at that time, this would have been a good fit. This was the Siege mold, which was also really good at for its time. Of course, this is the Netflix disguised version. I didn't get the original G1 coloration. If I did, I'd probably have skipped the Kingdom version. And this is the Kingdom version, arguably the best of all the four in terms of the G1 likeness, although it does suffer from not having a peg on his shoulder, which, you know, we can probably just put this there just so he has a cannon. But yeah, if it had that peg there, then it would be perfect. If I had the original Siege version that had the peg there, I wouldn't really need this Kingdom version, to be honest. But yeah, just a fun comparison. Now, articulation for Mirage, let's just remove this. It does have a swivel at the head, and the head does tilt a little bit from on all directions. The arm goes that much out, swivels around, swivel at the top. This thing rotates if you need it to get out of the way. Elbow goes to 90 degrees. He does have waist swivel. Leg goes all the way out, all the way forward, all the way back, not hindered at all. Knee bend that goes to 90 degrees, and he does have forward and back on the foot, and crazy amount of ankle tilt. So yeah, he's really posable and sleek, so really nicely done figure. Now to transform him, It does share a bit of elements on the original Siege version, in particular the legs, but the top part is totally different. So let me show you how different. So first off, you unpick this back piece, and then the arms, you lift them up so they just peg right there at the armpit. A little bit tight, not too bad. Rotate the wheels out. That allows us to push the head in, and that exposes this engine, which is cool looking. Now you peg that into that slot, securing that. Okay, you rotate the arms up, rotate the hands in. Let's leave that out for now. Let's work on the legs. So for the legs, what you do is, first off, this feet part, you rotate in, then we extend that, rotate that up. Now the wheels, we rotate around. This does catch there, which is quite annoying, but what can you do? And then what you want to do is, there is that gray peg that will slot right there. It takes a bit of force, especially in the first few times you transform him, and even after. There you go. It takes a bit of force, which is quite annoying. So give yourself a bit more space. You uncompress that. Okay, let's work on the other leg. Feet first. Take this up, rotate this forward. Again, this is the most annoying part of the transformation, compressing this bit. Takes a bit of force, which I really don't like. Rotate this up. Okay, make sure that compresses, and then these white bits will slot onto holes right there. Make sure that's aligned. Oh, compress it. Mine doesn't want to compress all the way for some reason, especially the top part. Go. Now let's clean up the top. Now what you do is, where's that peg? So there's that peg there that will slot on the arm, on the other arm there, as well as there's these pegs on either side, which will just line up as such. You see, so let's just do that. Push that in, and then peg that in, and then we just rotate this whole section down. Oh, sorry, no clearance. Need to rotate that down first, then we can compress this in. And then there's these pegs that, when together, will go into that gap there. So let's do that. Now mine doesn't want to stay. You can see I can push that all the way down, but then as soon as I let go, it will just go back up. What can you do? There you go. There you got Mirage in his vehicle mode. Okay, taking a closer look at the vehicle mode. This one is an awesome vehicle mode. Lots of nice detail. 26 there. I like the Autobot symbol. My Autobot symbol is almost aligned. I think it's a ½ millimeter misaligned. So I might just take my extra sticker and cover that up or something. But yeah, other than that, it's okay. It's not as egregious as a Chevatron's one. It looks like a factory defect the way that one is misaligned. I think the back is a little bit cleaner, so we'll do a side by side with the Netflix one in a bit. But this one looks a little bit cleaner. It does have that engine there, so yeah, really nice. It has peg holes on either side of the body there, so you can take the guns and store it there if you wanted to. It looks a little bit cleaner than the Netflix one or the Siege one in terms of weapon storage. I personally don't keep the robots, the Transformers in vehicle mode, so you know, I don't really do that. Rolls really well for a race car. A little bit of clearance. There's no clearance issue at all, but the clearance is very small. It does roll, as you can see, really well. Let me take out the guns and let's compare it with the Netflix one or the Siege one. So this one does look a lot better than the Siege mode. This one I felt was a little bit big. This one I felt was a little bit egregious, and the back is like the front. So yeah, this one is definitely better executed. Let me just put that down and let's rotate this a little bit down so I can show you this version, which is also, this is basically the Combiner Wars version. This one I really like. This one is probably the best out of the entire lot. And here is the original Classics mode, which is also nicely done in my opinion. Now it does have that one, this one does have that one Easter egg. You see the robot head there, so it does look like a driver sitting there in the cockpit. So yeah, out of the four, I think in terms of vehicle mode, I do prefer this version the best, the Combiner Wars one. But this one is the worst in terms of the robot mode. Robot mode, I do like this. None of them do have that original Citanis race car. So that one was more a 70s race car than anything else. These are all more modern takes. So none of them are really G1 accurate. If pushed, I think this one is the most similar to the original Citanis, but it's just, all in all, they're all far and away different from that one. So yeah, nice comparison there. I do have this. I don't want to compare this just because this one already has a bit of, so see there's already some cracking. So I don't really like fiddling this one with this one just because of the clear plastic. This one is basically the same vehicle mode as that anyway. So yeah, this one's the best I think out of the four. Now transforming in back is quite easy. Let's just lift that up, split this and lift this up. Yep. Now let's do the lower body. Hardest part is splitting this. I really hate how unsmooth this bit is. I don't know what's catching, but that peg just catches there and doesn't want to let go. But once that's done, it's pretty easy. So you rotate this up, around, flip the feet, then compress that, rotate that forward, rotate the wheels, push that down, take the feet out. There you go. That's the lower body done. Upper body, rotate these arms out, orient the spoiler, Flip that down, flip the head up. You can rotate the wheels in. Peg that on the shoulder. Peg that on the underarm again. Accordion the waist down. That waist, by the way, can serve as, and I do that for a few poses. It can serve as a pseudo ab crunch, which is nice. Not as good as the ab crunch on Huffer. It'll do. And then flip the fists out. There you have Mirage in his robot mode. Now, final thoughts on Mirage. I think he's a great figure. Whether he's worth 100 Australian dollars just because he's too packed with Grimlock is up to you. I guess if you need a Mirage on your shelf and the only version you've got is the Combiner Wars or the Classics version, I think this one by and large is superior to these two. So no question, if you only have those two, this one is a good pick. Now, if you already have the Siege version, not this crappy holographic version or the Netflix version that's not even an Autobot, then yeah, if you already have that Siege version, then probably not more definite or must-have buy. This one is good enough, especially since he has that shoulder cannon there. I think this one is better than that. That said, this one's vehicle mode is better than the original Siege version, but I don't know if that's enough to sway you towards buying this one, especially with the price point and the lack of the shoulder cannon port. So yeah, that's it for me. Since I didn't get the Netflix version or the Siege version, then this one is a must buy. So yeah, that's the review. If you like that review, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, this has been Grimtrigger, and this has been the above average Kingdom Mirage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.